Jennifer Saunders is singing the vocal, and she's really terrific.
Late at night, I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need. Hit it!
In the early 2000s, there were several notable childhood animated characters that just seemed to infiltrate every nook and cranny of American pop culture. Many of those characters had discernible traits that made them become beloved and influential moral templates for now multiple generations of people. SpongeBob SquarePants was absurd and ridiculous, but reminded us to not take life so seriously and to love everyone, even your haters. Dora the Explorer was adventurous and helped kids transcend language barriers. The Powerpuff Girls taught us strength in numbers and to always have two best friends, and Lilo and Stitch taught us that you can become the best of friends with the unlikeliest of beings. But one of the most prominent childhood animated characters throughout the 2000s was Shrek. A product of DreamWorks Pictures in 2001, Shrek was easily one of the greatest childhood icons of American pop culture. With his no-nonsense attitude, but oddly enduring and sweet protective personality, Shrek took American audiences by storm. Shrek has grown into a movie franchise that has collectively grossed over $3 billion, with a new movie set to release in 2026. Even within the Shrek franchise, characters such as Puss in Boots have become so adored by fans, they've received multiple successful film installments of their own. Within each Shrek movie, we see the titular character of Shrek and a slew of fairy tale creatures as they defeat varying sets of villains in an array of fictional lands. And while there are several noteworthy villains from the Shrek universe, none stand the test of time to me more than that of Fairy Godmother. Although only appearing in the Shrek 2 film, her inclusion and impact on the Shrek franchise is nothing short of iconic, and her presence is still felt to this day in Far, Far Away. Played by the English powerhouse singer and actress Jennifer Saunders, Fairy Godmother is one of the most genuinely badass female characters in the Shrek franchise, which is really saying a lot. Even in 2024, the scene of Fairy Godmother singing "Holding Out for a Hero" toward the end of Shrek 2 is without hyperbole one of the greatest movie moments of all time. It's absolutely enthralling, but totally unexpected, and it is not only a surprisingly terrific song cover, but it seamlessly serves the plot and story of Shrek 2 in the fiercest way possible. In a day and age where audiences hate movie musicals more than ever, where even billion-dollar film franchises are flopping at the box office, I can't help but want to revisit Shrek 2 and the Holding Out for a Hero song cover specifically. Through a dual 2004-2024 lens, I want to briefly re-examine the Shrek franchise, the Holding Out for a Hero song cover, and why musical movie moments like this feel like a dying art form in the modern streaming media landscape.
Hit it!
If you're watching this video, I assume you're familiar with Shrek in some capacity, but in case you are not, I will give you a brief synopsis. Please note that this is not a full analysis of the entire Shrek franchise, or we would be here for several hours. I do not have a team of editors to use and abuse like Marvel. I am a one-man band, so forgive me as I'm going to attempt to summarize the Shrek franchise in like a minute. Loosely based on the 1990 fantasy picture book Shrek by American cartoonist and author William Steig, Shrek, played by Mike Myers, follows the whirlwind journey of a very disgruntled and lonely green ogre named Shrek, who lives in a swamp in the fairy tale land of Dulak. He's isolated by himself and does not like visitors and will attack any who visit his swamp. When the dwarf ruler Lord Farquaad, played by John Lithgow, banishes many of the fairy tale creatures, they end up in Shrek's swamp, which obviously pisses him off. Annoyed, Shrek goes to Lord Farquaad to get rid of the creatures from his swamp, but along the way to the castle, he meets a very talkative donkey named Donkey, played by Eddie Murphy, and they become unorthodox besties. Meanwhile, Lord Farquaad is in his castle with a magic mirror who tells him if he does not marry a princess, he will not become a king. After logging into Dulak Tinder, Lord Farquaad swipes right on Princess Fiona. The only issue is, she's trapped in a different castle guarded by a pink dragon. So Shrek goes to Lord Farquaad, asks him to remove the creatures from his swamp. Lord Farquaad says he'll do it, but only if Shrek rescues Princess Fiona from the dragon. Shrek agrees, and he and Donkey begin their journey. In Knight's Gear, Shrek and Donkey arrive at the castle, get attacked by the dragon. Shrek finds and rescues Princess Fiona, while Donkey falls in love with the dragon. Although Princess Fiona, played by Cameron Cameron Diaz, is initially disgusted by Shrek revealing he's an ogre, the two form a love bond after some chaos ensues on their way back to Lord Farquaad's castle, after Shrek takes her back against her will, of course. While headed back, Shrek eavesdrops one night on Fiona and Donkey, where it's revealed that Fiona is also an ogre because of a childhood curse. But because he's used to being the butt end of the joke, Shrek misinterprets Fiona calling herself an ugly beast, thinking that she was talking about him. Pissed off, Shrek goes back to his swamp, Fiona accepts Lord Farquaad's proposal, Donkey scolds Shrek for running away, Shrek admits that his life sucks without Fiona, they ride back to Lord Farquaad's castle, interrupt the marriage, and then get sentenced to execution and imprisonment. But before he can declare anything, Donkey and his newfound lover Dragon come in and eat Lord Farquaad and save the day. Shrek and Fiona fall in love, get married, and live happily ever after, until Shrek 2. Released on May 19, 2004, Shrek 2 follows our now newlywed Shrek and Fiona, and Donkey, as they go to Fiona's homeland of the Kingdom of Far Far Away to meet her parents King Harold, played by John Cleese, and Queen Lillian, played by Julie Andrews, and have a huge palatial ball to celebrate the marriage. However, upon meeting him, Fiona's parents are disgusted by the sight of Shrek, and tensions flare, with Fiona's father forbidding the marriage of Shrek and Fiona. After a dispute at dinner between Shrek and the king, Fiona locks herself in her room, while her dad King Harold hires a local cat hitman named Puss in Boots, played by Antonio Banderas, to kill Shrek after a visit from Fairy Godmother, played by Jennifer Saunders. King Harold needs Shrek dead in order to fulfill a promise he made to Fairy Godmother to prearrange a marriage between Princess Fiona and Fairy Godmother's son Prince Charming. Afterwards, Puss in Boots tries to kill Shrek, it doesn't work, and ultimately caves into saying he was a killer for hire by the king. Shrek, Donkey, and Puss sneak into Fairy Godmother's factory full of potions, steal the happily ever after potion for Shrek to drink to become a normal human, and marry Fiona by midnight to break their ogre curses. The three men drink the potion and fall asleep, while Fiona falls asleep back at the castle. The trio awaken the next morning, with Shrek and Fiona as normal humans, and Donkey as a stallion. Fairy Godmother realizes the potion is gone from her factory, sends her son to win over Fiona, while the real Shrek is being manipulated by Fairy Godmother to go home without Fiona, and to leave her be with Prince Charming, like she was destined to be, and Shrek complies. Fairy Godmother and King Harold want to seal the deal with a love potion in Fiona's tea to ensure that she falls for Prince Charming with ease. And because he's always eavesdropping, Shrek, Puss, and Donkey get captured and jailed after overhearing the love potion plot conversation. The ball begins, but is interrupted by the band of fairy tale creatures from the first installment and a giant gingerbread man named Mongo, who rescue Shrek and company from their jail cells, storm the castle, and defeat the royal guards. Prince Charming kisses Fiona, but swiper no swiping. King Harold actually drank the love potion, and so nothing happens with Fiona and Charming. And just as Shrek arrives... Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, while all of this chaos ensues, Fairy Godmother is serving us the best cover version of Bonnie Tyler's 1984 smash hit Holding Out for a Hero that has ever existed. And finally, we have arrived at the catalyst for this video. Jennifer Saunders, a veteran stage and screen English performer, has one of the most powerful yet playfully sassy voices I've ever heard in a movie villain. Jennifer Saunders perfectly embodied that undying determination to achieve your goals no matter the quantity of obstacles as Fairy Godmother. And the grit and pain in her singing voice enhances this trait. Fiona married someone new? She'll instruct the king to have him killed. Shrek drank the happily ever after potion? Fine, she'll make her son look like his clone and give the king a love potion as backup. Oh, the king drank the love potion? Then she'll just kill Shrek or the king herself. She has an unrelenting presence in the movie, with this song and scene being the epitome of that. Holding Out for a Hero is the most ironic song for Fairy Godmother to sing as a wedding song for Fiona and Prince Charming. The irony is that Fiona has been holding out for a hero, but it isn't Prince Charming. In a weird way, throughout the Shrek universe, everyone is seemingly holding out for a hero. What that hero is or looks like depends on which character we're talking about. A hero to King Harold would be someone who looks like Prince Charming. Donkey was holding out for a hero in the first Shrek Shrek film when he was held up by the Duloc guards, and like Fiona, that hero for Donkey was Shrek. Within the kingdom of Duloc and the kingdom of Far Far Away, a representation of the best and worst of classic fairy tales is on full display. Most of the fairy tale creatures in the Shrek world are outsiders, belittled and exiled and meant to be made to feel less than those who look more normal and naturally fit in. Haves versus have-nots of fairy tales, if you will. An unforgiving social hierarchy where you are born into a group and have to blindly accept the hatred for being born into that group. Within the scene of Fairy Godmother singing Holding Out for a Hero, she is trying to convince Fiona that Charming is that hero she's been holding out for, in one of the most epic ways imaginable. Fairy Godmother encapsulates all of the Shrek universe within one musical moment. The Shrek films have always used music to narratively tell the underlying meanings behind the story and arc of Shrek as a character. In the first Shrek film, the song All Star and the song I'm a Believer by Smash Mouth are used to tell the audience that not all that glitters is gold, only shooting stars can break the mold. Shrek can be a believer in anything if he just tries, that true love is for him, not just in fairy tales. These are examples of ways to serve the plot narratively, while also injecting a more engaging and unique way of telling a story. In Shrek 2, the songs and artists featured are done so in a way so seamlessly it feels like a forgotten art form of filmmaking. Shrek 2 features the song Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows, which is obviously the most accurate way of describing the love between Shrek and Fiona. The song Funky Town by Lips Inc. is used to show how vastly different Far Far Away is from the swamp that we know Shrek is used to. The song Changes by David Bowie is used to show Shrek's physical transformation into a normal human, and how the townspeople of Far Far Away treat him differently when he isn't an ogre. And of course, the song Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler is used to illustrate the longing and yearning for a savior of some kind to metaphorically sweep in and save the day. The Holding Out for a Hero scene encapsulates the golden rule of film screenwriting, which is to show, not tell. In this case, both are occurring. The audience sees the sequence of events as they unfold, with the music and lyrics serving as a backdrop to further enhance what we were already seeing. Everything narratively within the Shrek universe has led up to the Holding Out for a Hero musical number. As a kid, I really was scared and thought everything was over watching this scene. In 2004, a 7-year-old me saw Fairy Godmother flying across the screen with this fiery rendition of a song I had never heard before, but was absolutely mesmerized by. Jennifer Saunders' vocal intensity and ferocity electrified the screen, and it felt like being in the front row seat of a heavy metal concert. It was indescribable what was going through my head watching Shrek 2. I genuinely thought it was over, that Princess Fiona would fall for Prince Charming, and that Shrek would never get his happy ending. And it all seems so unfair to witness. A lonely ogre that's constantly ostracized finds the love of his life, only to have her taken away and made to fall for someone else right in front of him, all at the order of her parents. I was on the brink of devastation as a child. If that ending had really happened, I would probably need years of therapy to recover from that experience.
Cut the cameras. Deadass.
But that's the beauty of this moment. It builds an Everest-like anxiety within its audience to an insurmountable climax, all to have it end only 60 seconds after Fairy Godmother finishes singing. After Holding Out for a Hero concludes, Charming kisses Fiona, she headbutts him, and King Harold reveals that he drank the love potion and not Fiona. Fairy Godmother tries to strike Shrek with a spell, but King Harold jumps in front, turning into a frog when hit. The remnants of Fairy Godmother's spell bounce off of the king's armor to Fairy Godmother, turning her into bubbles as a result. King Harold reveals that he too used the happily ever after potion years before to gain the love of Lillian, making him ultimately approve of Shrek and Fiona's marriage. And just before midnight, Fiona and Shrek decide not to become humans and accept remaining as ogres. Donkey reverts back to a donkey, and then the credits begin rolling. I think about this scene a lot in particular. It really sticks out to me in so many ways, and I don't think a film before or after, animated or live action, has found a way to incorporate a pre-existing song in such a unique way to distinctly tell a story. In the modern era of streaming, we've seen a lot of studios and franchises attempt to blend music with story, and audiences have not responded well to it. Earlier this year in January, the Mean Girls reboot as a musical starring Renee Rapp received mixed reviews from critics and was laughed at by audiences. Studios, who considered it an unnecessary remake. A month before that, the December 2023 remake of Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet, opened as well to mixed reviews and was also considered unnecessary. Just last month, in October of 2024, Joker Folie à Deux, which is Joker as a musical, starring Lady Gaga, opened to extremely negative reviews from critics and audiences, and is currently on track to be the biggest money-losing film of 2024. And needless to say, it was also considered unnecessary by most of the general public. Clearly, something is out of touch with modern audiences and the way that music is blended within the filmmaking medium. Although Wicked starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande opens later this month in November of 2024 and is expected to perform very well with audiences and critics, this is more of an exception rather than the rule. Overall, movie musicals and movies with music that drive the plot forward narratively have not been performing well compared to previous years. And I understand that Shrek isn't outwardly a musical, but I do think that in a weird way, Shrek has a very interesting fusion of both music that's pre-existing and music that's original, and finding unique ways to blend that in with plot points. But it does it in a way that doesn't feel forced or contrived. It feels organic to the plot, and it drives the plot forward. What I'm trying to say here is that movie moments like the holding out for a hero scene in Shrek 2 feel like a lost form of media. With AI and entire teams assembled at Netflix and Sony working 24/7 to figure out what audiences want via algorithms and personal data, it means that movies will become more formulaic, and crucially, movie moments like the holding out for a hero scene will become remnants of a forgotten Hollywood past. For one brief moment in 2004, my little 7-year-old world stopped. I had gone through the 7 stages of grief within the span of 5 exhilarating minutes. I had learned the meaning of love, loss, and acceptance from a few ogres, a donkey, a purple dragon, a fairy godmother, and a band of fairy tale creatures. So here's to looking back fondly on the lessons of Shrek, and a forever thanks to the creators, cast, and crew for teaching generations of past and generations to come that even the strongest, even the toughest, that even if you're an ogre, everyone deserves love, everyone is worth saving, and that everyone is holding out for a hero, and that hero just might be within you. If you enjoyed this video, let me know what you think in the comments below about Shrek or the Holding Out for a Hero cover. Consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel if you enjoy taking a look at a wide array of pop culture topics. I put out video essays every 3 to 4 weeks, so I promise I will not clog your notifications. And a kind thank you for watching. Until next time.